Hey everyone, today we're looking at the Roborock Qrevo Slim. So this is the vacuum right here. It's called Rocky, and it's the Roborock Qrevo Slim. And the first thing I want to talk about is this right here. This is a really cool sensor array. This sensor array contains solid-state LiDAR with 21,600 different data points. That allows it to achieve incredible accuracy even in the most complex scenarios. It even has a secondary sensor on the back just to help it navigate even better. And it's honestly fantastic. It works great in my house, and that's coming from someone who used to have a Shark robot vacuum, which would sometimes have trouble in places with table legs or chair legs. Basically anything remotely complex, it would just immediately get lost and struggle to find its way home. This does not have this problem. It's never gotten lost, it's never not been able to find its way home or navigate around complex scenarios. And another thing that solid state LiDAR provides is that it's a lot shorter. At only 8.3 centimeters tall, it squeezes under basically anything. If you have a piece of furniture, it probably fits under unless it's super low or doesn't have feet at all. It fits under my wardrobe, under my bed, under my couch. It's amazing, and it fits everywhere. The trade-off is that it's a little wider than my old Shark robot vacuum, but I far prefer this vacuum's reliability and ability to navigate in tight spaces. Along with a solid-state LiDAR, it also has an RGB camera that uses for AI detection of 73 distinct types of objects. And it can intelligently avoid those to avoid tangling itself up in cables or shoelaces. And it does a really great job with avoiding those. I've never had an issue where it sucks up a cable and gets stuck or something like that. An issue I had many times with my Shark robot vacuum. Along with that AI RGB camera, it can also find your pets, which on the surface sounds a little weird, admittedly. But it actually, as it vacuums, it will see your pet and take a little picture of it, and it sends it to your phone, and it's really cute. Albeit weird sometimes if your pet moves. Anywho, another part of that front assembly that I think is really cool is it has a little LED bar at the bottom just to light up the path in front of it. That isn't used for navigation. That's purely to use object recognition in dimly lit places. So say you have like a sock under your bed. So this allows it to see that sock and avoid it and not suck it up into the brushes and jam everything up into a big old mess. Speaking about its great ability to navigate complex areas, that navigation ability and improvement in that area doesn't do much good if it can't get into the tight corners and the hard to reach places. That's why Roborock equipped this model with a little brush that can actually poke out to the side and get into the corners really well, and a mop that does the same thing and pops out of the corners so that you get full coverage even in complex areas. And there's a setting you can actually turn on that makes it so that it gets close to every edge, not just corners, which can be nice if you have curves or table legs or a normal house, not just a cube. Another really nifty feature that I think a lot of other robot vacuums could benefit from is a liftable mop pad. Now, the Qrevo Slim actually has two mop pads, and what a lot of robot vacuum manufacturers will do is they just have it at set height, and then it goes around your house, and if it mops, those pads are wet, and when it goes over carpet, now your carpet's wet. You see where I'm going with that. Basically, Roborock made it so that when it sees carpet or detects carpet, it automatically lifts the pads up, and as an added bonus, if it's just doing mopping, it can actually lift the whole brush assembly for the vacuum so that you're just mopping the floors and you're not putting any extra wear and tear on your vacuum brush. One of the settings I turned on in the app for my own house is that I set it to where it actually vacuums the whole house first and then goes back and mops the moppable areas separately. Normally, if you just use it right out of the box, it gets ready to mop and vacuum at the same time, which isn't really a problem, but sometimes it can just be kind of weird walking around on wet spots here and dry spots there. So I like to just have it to where it just vacuums everything, then mops the rest. It works really well that way. That also makes it to where you're not using the hot water tank feature, which I'll get to in a second, and then allowing it to cool down in the robot vacuum before it even does any mopping. Really nifty feature. Speaking of mopping, let's talk about that hot water. You didn't hear me wrong. The dock will actually heat up the water to use inside the robot vacuum. So you're not just mopping with room temperature water, although you can also use hot water and warm water to actually go ahead and get better scrubbing power and stain lifting capabilities. One thing that I thought was really weird and didn't really make a lot of sense to me when I first heard it was that it has a built-in voice assistant. And I was thinking to myself, why does a vacuum need a voice assistant? You know, like, I'm not gonna be like, Alexa, what's the weather? And expect my vacuum to respond to me while it's cleaning the house. That didn't seem very realistic. But when I dug into it a little more and actually started using it, it makes so much more sense when it works. And that's one thing I'll touch on in a second. Basically, the built-in voice assistant allows you to say, "Hello, Rocky."
I'm here.
And it responds and it allows you to do a command. And the app will actually show you what are supported voice commands for the vacuum, such as return to the dock or vacuum this room, mop this room, reduce power, increase power, yada, yada, yada. There's quite a few commands you can use. And once I realized the power of the commands, I have found it endlessly useful. I wish everything had a little voice assistant like this. It is so useful. If it's vacuuming in a room I don't want it to room, if it's vacuuming in a room I don't want it to vacuum, I can just tell it to skip this room. And what does it do? It moves on to the next room. It works fantastically. The problem is, I don't know if it's the way I speak. I don't know if it's where the microphones are placed. For some reason, 25% of the time, it doesn't seem to understand what I say, even if I say it exactly like it says in the app. So like, "Hello, Rocky, return to the dock." And it will pause for about 16 seconds and then say, "I'm sorry, I cannot understand your command. Please refer to the app for available voice commands." But aside from that, I find the AI voice assistant AI extremely useful. And honestly, it's so much better to tell it to just go home or empty the dustbin without having to pull out the app and scroll through all these menus. Just say what you want. Some other really cool things I want to touch on really quick. The dock has a built-in hair dryer essentially to dry out the mop pads. A lot of other robot vacuums will just let the mops, basically it dries them and gets all the water off them, but then they're still damp and it will just leave them like that. And what happens is over time mold builds up and that's a whole can of worms you don't want to have to deal with. This actually blows hot air over them and you can set the amount of time you want that to happen for. Like you can have it all the way up to 4 hours if you live in a humid environment, and that will dry them out, prevent mold. It helps the pads to last longer. Super amazing. The dock also has 2 water containers on it, a clean water and a dirty water container. And they basically do what they say on the tin. You fill one up with clean water and some detergent from Roborock if you want. Not necessary. I don't use it. And then you put it into the dock. The other one is the dirty water that uses from washing the mop pads and stuff. And that one you empty. That's basically it. A super cool thing that Roborock has with their app is that it tells you when certain maintenance things are due, such as replacing the vacuum bag or cleaning off the sensors, rinsing out the little mop washing area. Simple things like that. It just gives you a little pop-up reminder. It's non-intrusive at all. It doesn't stop you from using the product even if you don't do it. It's just like, hey, it's been 30 cleaning hours. Time to rinse out the wash tray. Believe me, it's hard to reach 30 hours of cleaning when this guy cleans a whole house in 45 minutes. So all in all, this is a fantastic. Words do not describe how much of an upgrade this is over something like a Shark robot vacuum or an early version of a Roomba robot vacuum. This is leaps and bounds ahead of what the competitors are putting out right now. And it's even on Vacuum Wars recommended vacuums list. And you know how tough that guy can be. So for him to put on his list really shows just how far ahead of the competition this vacuum really is. And if you saw at CES this year, they're trying to add extra features like arms that pop out of the vacuum to pick up socks and actually tidy up your house for you, as well as clean the floors, which is crazy. I would not have thought about that in 100 years, you know. But here we are. They're making it. So if you have a robot vacuum right now, this is an insane upgrade. And for the prices that other companies are charging, I would say this one is far and above the rest. As always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Leave a comment down below saying what you like and what you don't like about this robot vacuum. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.